Good evening, morning, baseball fans. How you doing? How you doing? How are you doing? We got some breaking news. A couple of pieces of breaking news in literally like the last 10 minutes. We got Tyler Glasnow heading to the Dodgers. Jack Flaherty heading to the Tigers. I was just about to start the show in a little bit, and all of a sudden, this stuff came in. How you doing, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Man, oh man, I was about to be going live in about 15 minutes, and all of a sudden, all this stuff started just pouring in. And I'm like, what is happening right now? I got to start this stream a little early. How you doing, everyone? Welcome back to another show. We did not go live last night. We did not go live because there was really, I'm going to be honest with you, there really just wasn't a whole lot to talk about. And all of a sudden now, we got a ton to talk about. So Tyler Glasnow heading to the Dodgers. And man, you know, I literally, after just introducing Shohei Ohtani, like, what in the world is going on? They just got done with a press conference. I mean, was this deal already done? Did they get done with Ohtani and then Friedman got a phone call or something right after that? I don't know what the heck is going on right now. My mind is bamboozled right now. But everyone, if you can, hit that like button for me. We're going to get started here. Help us out with the algorithm. Smash that like button for me. Hit that bell. That way, you know, I go live every single time. We have breaking news like this in the off season, so you definitely need to have that bell notification ready. If you can, everyone, share the show. Subscribe if you're new. I'm just getting everything pulled up here. Man, oh man, we're just playing a little catch-up right now. And everyone, we talked about this the other night, right? We had our show, and then there was a little something that started brewing between the Dodgers and the Rays. We were looking out for it, and my guy told me it's probably going to be a day or two. And look at that. It was right. If you go back to that stream, I literally read the text saying it's probably not going to get done for another couple days. And look at that. It got done in a couple days. So let's get to it here. And here is the trade. And I'm going to pull up baseball trade values. We're going to check this out. We're going to see if it gets approved on the simulator. So here we go from Jeff Passan. The Dodgers and Tampa Bay Rays are in agreement on a trade to send Tyler Glasnow and Manuel Margot to the Dodgers for Ryan Pepiot and Johnny DeLuca. That's literally exactly the trade I told you all the other night, and it was also being reported by Jack of MLB Nerds. He's had a bit of a history of kind of just throwing a lot out there and seeing if anything sticks, but this one definitely did stick here, and I'm even noticing some of the other writers out there aren't really giving any credit to MLB Nerds. I wonder if that has to do with the reputation a little bit, kind of just throwing a whole bunch of stuff out there. There's a way that, you know, these guys like Jeff Passan, Ken Rosenthal, there's a bit of an art to this when it comes to reporting the news and breaking the news, and so I wonder possibly if Jack of MLB Nerds maybe had rubbed some people the wrong way in the past. I wonder if maybe that's causing, you know, some of these guys to not really give credit. I don't know. Who knows what that is? I'm just speculating right now. Either way, we're talking about the trade, and it's a big one, everyone. Tyler Glasnow, he's got 1 year left of control. He's going to be with the Dodgers just after Shohei Ohtani just got introduced. That is crazy. But if he's healthy, this is absolutely going to beef up their rotation. He has some of the best stuff in the game. If you go look at the Stuff Plus charts on Fangraphs, last year, he was right near the top. Tyler Glasnow, when healthy, is a very, very, very good pitcher to have in your rotation. Manuel Margot, he's going to be, you know, some outfield depth, give you some defense. But the big question right here is, my goodness, how the heck did the Rays pull off getting Ryan Pepiot along with Johnny DeLuca? That is a big haul. I'm going to tell you right now, I believe that, Lions, did Rosenthal credit him? I saw someone say that he did not give him credit. So I take back what I said. If he did end up giving him credit, I take back what I said. I saw someone tweet out saying, hey, give these guys credit. Give the credit to these guys. At first, Ken Rosenthal did not give credit. He did not give credit in his original tweet. So I'm just pointing that out. So let's get to the trade simulator here. I know why you're all here. Over 500 people in the chat. Everyone, if you can, share the show with the world right now. We got some news. And my goodness, the Dodgers. What the heck is going on, man? Goodness gracious. So let's get to it here. We got the Dodgers landing Tyler Glasnow. This is a big overpay, everyone. This is not going to get approved by the simulator. I can't believe the Rays pulled off getting Ryan Pepio. Like, that is nuts. For 1 year of Tyler Glasnow, I actually could see a lot of Dodgers fans not liking this. And yes, I see you in the chat. There's an extension there as well. I understand that. But I mean, so I'm still, again, I'm playing catch up here, everyone. I was literally just setting up my stream for like 10 minutes from now. Trade contingent on the Dodgers signing Glasnow to an extension. So right now, I'm just leaving the extension out of it. We're just going to look at the trade as it is, right? Yes, there definitely could be an extension. I was told that a couple of days ago that that's what the Dodgers were looking to explore. But I will still stand by what I just said. I could see a lot of Dodgers fans not liking this because Glasnow has had health issues. Pepio is a young guy just coming out of the minors. So I could see a lot of Dodgers fans being like, why are we getting a guy that's had injury history, has trouble staying on the field? You know, when we had a guy like Pepio, you know, he's a young guy and he's emerging. So I definitely will see Dodgers fans out there not liking this. But let's see what the extension looks like. Maybe the extension could be maybe like a team-friendly kind of extension. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, let's put this trade together. So Pepio on the Rays, and let's actually put Glasnow on the Rays here. So when you look at Tyler Glasnow, there's not a lot of value when it comes to him. So you're going to see, you know, a decent amount, right around 12, 13 million. Again, he's very good, but he's had the injury history. He's only got 1 year of control, and he's also going to be making $25 million. So when you combine the salary with everything else, right, age, injury history, you know, years of control, again, I'm not thinking about the extension. So that's why you're not seeing a very high one, whereas someone like Corbin Burnes has a much higher value with 1 year of control because Corbin Burnes has been a workhorse. He's been one of the best starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. So that's the difference. It's really just the health. So let's also put Manuel Margot. Manuel Margot, he is an underwater contract right now. Not a lot, but he's not bringing you a ton of trade value. So this is actually going to lower this for the Dodgers. So take that in mind. And one more piece, we had Johnny DeLuca going to the Rays. So let's put him in here. So again, this is not going to get approved because we looked at this the other night. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge overpay right there. But granted, you're not thinking about the extension. So let's see what the extension looks like. Yeah, Almighty Bree, I completely agree with you. You said here in the chat, Glasnow may be injury prone, but he's nuclear when he's on. He's very good. Trust me. If anyone here knows, well, besides maybe some Rays fans, if anyone knows how good Tyler Glasnow is, it's me. Because I've seen a lot of Tyler Glasnow up close and personal being a Red Sox fan. So I know definitely some Tyler Glasnow. He has definitely given me some headaches as a Red Sox fan in the past. So as of right now, this trade is rejected, but it's also not considering the extension. So that definitely comes into play too. So we can actually go here. If you get a subscription with baseball trade values, you can actually go look at what some possible free agent contracts could look like in terms of dollars, right? Based off of their value that they put on the field, and also weighs their age and, you know, injury history and everything like that. So if we go look here, let's see. You could do this a couple of different ways. Nick, I see your super chat coming in. Thank you so much for that. But real quick, let's just see what would an extension look like for Tyler Glasnow. So Tyler Glasnow, actually, I wonder if that'll pop up. Yeah, it will actually. So listen, Tyler Glasnow again. He's very good. He's very good. So he's going to get himself a pretty beefy salary, especially if it's a shorter deal. So right now, if you're looking at a 4-year deal, you're looking at around an estimate of about $28 million per year, right? And again, yes, there's the health, injury prone, but still, the stuff is really good. I wonder what kind of an extension it will be. Will it be a 3-year deal? Now, they're estimating 3 years at $90 million, $30 million per year. And again, Tyler Glasnow is one of the best starting pitchers in the game when he is healthy. So I do wonder what that will be or how that will affect. But based off of performance alone, the future extension value for Tyler Glasnow, according to Baseball Trade Values, they're looking at around $30 million if it's a 3-year deal. So when it comes to Tyler Glasnow, hold on one second, everyone. Hold on 1 second for me. Hey, I am currently live right now. I will call you in a little bit. Okay. Okay, bye. Sorry, everyone. I had a quick little phone call there. Tyler Glasnow. Let's pull him up. So, again, I was not expecting to go live at this time. I had just everything's bonkers right now. I don't know what the heck's going on. So, looking at Glasnow just last year, remember he had a late start to the year, had the oblique going on after coming back from elbow surgery not too long ago. But overall, the numbers are really good with him over 21 starts from this past season. ERA in the mid-3s, but the FIP is almost a half run lower at a 2.91. You're looking at a 3.2 Fangraph WAR. But the big thing with Glasnow are the strikeouts and the walks as well. 12 strikeouts per 9, under 3 walks per 9, and he also keeps the ball in the yard too. Under a home run per 9 last year. There was a bit of a dip in the velocity, but again, you have to remember here, he was coming back, from an elbow surgery, was coming back, from the oblique in the beginning of the year. So keep that in mind. Yeah, sure, the velocity was a mile per hour, down, compared to the prior years, but still, he was overall a very effective pitcher last year. The strikeouts were down just a smidge compared to, the 21 and 22, and the walks were right around the same. But I think with Glasnow going to the Dodgers, that's another thing too with the Dodgers. The Dodgers have done very well with pitchers in the past, so let's see if they can even get more out of Tyler Glasnow going to the Dodgers. I mean, that is just crazy to me. So overall, when you're looking at the Dodgers rotation right now, I mean, this is pretty good. On paper, it looks great. Again, you got to keep this guy on the field, though. That's going to be a big question mark. So right now, Fangraphs has not updated this. But again, it is contingent on the extension, right? But Jeff Passan is saying it is expected. So we're just going to have to wait and see what ends up happening here with this extension. Everyone, we got 800 people in this chat. Like goal for the stream. Can we get 300? Why can't we get 300 likes? Hit that like button for me. 300 likes. So, real quick, let's see if there are any updates here when it comes from any of the reporters out there. And then we got Jack Flaherty going to the Tigers. What is going on right now? Trevor Plouffe, I think, came first with that report. What in the world is going on here? But I do just want to point out, MLB Nerds, Michael Marino, these guys were all over it a couple of days ago. I do just want to point that out. I want to give credit to those guys. Those are some, sure, say what you will about MLB Nerds. Again, has thrown kind of just a lot of stuff out there in the past. Has gotten a couple of things right, but then a lot of it just hasn't really come to fruition. But this is a big one. This is a big one, a big name like Tyler Glasnow. So just making sure there is no other reports. Doesn't seem like anything else is coming out at the moment. I could be wrong. John Heyman just tweeted out 4 minutes ago that it's contingent on the extension, but Passan told us that is expected. So let's look back at this trade here And let's kind of dive into this a little bit more. So we're going to go take a look at Ryan Pepiot. He was projected to be their number 3 starter as of right now. So that's a big piece you're moving right there. A guy that's under a ton of control. I mean, he's had not even 100 innings in the major leagues. But when you take a look at Pepiot's numbers from last year, so when you look at the ERA, it was a 2.14. FIP was a 4.18. But again, very small sample size with Pepiot. Hasn't really had a whole lot of time to blossom in the major leagues. But there is a lot to like about Ryan Pepiot. He's no longer considered a prospect. But if we go back to 2022, Pepiot, he was the number 6. So just taking a look at what MLB Pipeline thinks of him. When you're looking at Ryan Pepiot, you got a lot of velocity. Does it actually say what his average velocity was? You see, he was averaging around 94 miles an hour on the velocity, but there is some shape to his fastball to keep in mind. So the slider, okay, whatever, but the changeup is a really good pitch for Ryan Pepiot. And let's actually go to StatCast here. Again, everyone, I usually got most of this stuff pulled up, but considering I'm just playing catch-up here, I'm not able to just right away click over to the stuff that I have pulled up. But taking a look here, so we do have the movements of these pitches. And we also have the pitch values, too. On StatCast, the four-seamer was definitely his best pitch last year. But like I said, even though it was only averaging around 94 miles an hour, this is a guy where there's a good shape to the fastball, has a little bit of movement to it too. And then the changeup, that has been a very good pitch for him as he's developed throughout the minor leagues. A 75 changeup on MLB Pipeline. That's just insane. Let's see what Fangraphs gives it actually. Well, they give it a 60. So they're not as high on it. They're a 55. So maybe Pipeline, maybe they're being a little greedy when it comes to the grades, because that is a massive grade for a changeup. 75? I mean, that's freaking nuts. So I don't know. I probably lean more towards the Fangraphs. Maybe you can just go in between. Maybe 60 changeup I think is probably fine to say, and then maybe the fastball you could call a 60. But I think this is fine. I think 55 is a good grade there. And then when we're looking at the strikeout to walk ratio, if you go back to 2022, he had a lot of walks. Again, small sample size, but that was a problem. Last year, not a whole... Honestly, last year overall, he just didn't pitch all that much. So I'm very curious to see how he does over a full season. This guy's been touted as a very good pitcher. So let's see what happens. And for the Rays now, I mean, you got all the control of him. You got him for years to come. I mean, I think this is huge for the Rays. I mean, am I the only one that thinks that this is a huge win for the Rays in this trade? I mean, you're getting a guy who could end up, being one of your top of the rotation guys. I mean, let's actually go look at the Rays rotation now. So they're definitely starting to lean in to a bit more youth here. You got Shane Baz coming back. So, and that guy's definitely been touted. So you could honestly see a rotation next year that is really good, right? Let's see if Eflin can stay healthy. Last year, he was fine for the most part, but he's had some issues in the past before coming to the Rays. So let's see how he does for next year. But Eflin, I would imagine, is going to be their opening day starter next year. And then I would imagine you probably got Savali as your number 2. And then you got the younger guys like Pepiot and Baz that'll come after. So overall, I really do like the way this rotation looks. There's a lot of youth in it, but I like that. And for the Rays, they're always thinking about tomorrow. Right, because they kind of have to when you look at the payroll that they've had over the years. Let's see, new stadium down the road. Let's see if the payroll can get any better. But I don't know, though. They're staying in St. Petersburg, so who knows if the payroll is really going to get any better at any point. I don't know. But overall, I do like this rotation with a bit more youth in it. And, with Glasnow, he wasn't coming back. So it was very obvious to deal him. So, Eflin, Savali, Pepiot, Baz, a couple of veteran guys, a couple of young guys with very high ceilings. I like that rotation for the Rays. I really do. As a Red Sox fan, let's see You know, if we, I mean, the Rays are always tough to go up against, so let's see how those games go. But then we have another guy. We have another guy here going to the Rays, and that is DeLuca. Where is DeLuca? Let me pull him up real quick. Let's see. DeLuca. 25 years old. Not really a whole lot going on in his career so far. Just got called up this past year. But when you look at DeLuca, this is a guy, he's going to give you some speed. He could give you a little bit of power down the road. But it's not looking like, probably, I don't know, like when you look at the future of him, I could see maybe a decent player down the road. If you look at the numbers last year in AAA as well as AA, he was decent overall in AAA. He hit 306. I don't know why my stuff keeps lagging on me. What is happening here? What is happening here? So when you look at the numbers from last year, they were pretty good. You know, AA, he had 279, but he had the 590 slugging, had the 10 homers. Then he went to AAA, hit over 300. Slugging was still pretty good. So I'm looking at that. The slugging, that looks great, right? 590 in AA, 548 in AAA. He was okay in a very small sample size in the major leagues last year. But when you're looking at the scouting grades, they're not, Fangraphs isn't really giving him a whole lot. You got the speed with him, even though not a whole lot of stolen bases, but let's see. Maybe they could take advantage of that. So I think in the end with DeLuca, you know, this is a decent guy to get. He's a guy, you know, he's going to play just all three outfield positions. He can move around. And I think for the Rays, that's a good pickup for them. You're getting rid of You basically just got rid of a couple of veteran guys that really weren't going to do much for you down the road. Maybe, you know, Glasnow could have been, you know, good for you for 1 year, but he's not going to be coming back. So I think this is really good for the Rays, honestly. I'll give you my honest opinion. Give you my very honest opinion. I actually... Maybe this comes back to bite me, but I like this for the Rays better. I do. Maybe for the Dodgers in the short term, yeah. But I think for the Rays, I think this was a steal. I don't know, unless the Dodgers, they just don't value Pepio very high. Maybe there's something they're not liking about him very much, because that is a lot to give up. I know there's going to be the extension. I know. But still, Glasnow is in his 30-year age season now. Pepio, he is just getting started. Margot, you weren't getting anything more out of Margot. DeLuca is a guy who had pretty decent numbers in the minor leagues last year. I like this for the Rays. So I'm going to ask you all in the chat here. I really could see this maybe going either way. I feel like probably Dodger fans are going to like this probably more, but I'm going to put a poll up. Let's put up a poll. I'm going to ask all of you, who won this trade? Who won this trade? So look out for a poll, everyone. I'm coming with the poll. And I do see some super chats coming in. Wow, we got over 1,000 people in this chat. You guys are amazing. Amazing. We're at 168 likes right now. If you can, while I'm pulling up the poll, if you can help us get to 200 likes, I will love you forever. Here we go. Poll is coming up. I do wonder how this is going to go. I feel like the Dodgers are probably going to win this. Or in the poll, who won the Tyler Glasnow trade? Dodgers or the Rays? I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah, maybe this helps the Rays, or the Dodgers, sorry, maybe that helps them get a World Series in the short term, but I like it for the Rays. I really do. But let's see. What does the poll say? Look out for the poll. It's about to pop up on your screen. There it is. The poll is there. Who won the Tyler Glasnow trade? Dodgers or the Rays? Ooh, we're neck and neck right now. Neck and neck. Wow, over 100 votes already. Ooh, man. 52. Wow, 50-50 right now. I was wondering if it was going to go this way, because I could see this trade being very split. You're going to have the people on one side. They like the future for the Rays. But then I could see the other people being like, hey, we're trying to win a World Series right now. Glasnow is going to help us do that. Pepio wasn't really going to help us do that. Or maybe he could have, but at least you know what you're getting with Glasnow. So, I see the comment. Robbie put an option for win-win. I'm going bold here. We're going to go either or. Dodgers or Rays. So I guess you could put it that way. Yes, you could. It's good for both sides. But listen, I'm a guy that's looking at now and tomorrow. And, I mean, sorry, but for the future, I like it for the Rays more. Like, yeah, sure, you might have Glasnow for a few years after an extension, but sorry, I still kind of like it for the Rays, to be completely honest. And I'm probably going to have some grumpy people at me in the comments. I understand that. So I'm just saying. Let's get to some Super Chats here. We do have more stories to talk about, everyone. I was going live originally 10 minutes ago. But because of this, we had to go live a little earlier. So let's get to some Super Chats here. I had a couple coming in. Amazing. Thank you for all the Super Chats. So here we go. My computer is also being very slow. Nick, $4.99. I'm a Dodgers fan and fine with it. We have great right arms in the system. That's also something else to consider. The Dodgers do have a lot of prospects. I'm sure my gut tells me the Dodgers, they probably did not want to part with Pepio. I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. Maybe there's something they didn't like about Pepio. Obviously, they were okay with giving him up, but I wonder if there was some hesitancy there where like, oh, man, Pepio. Oh, because, listen, when you look at the simulator, man, I know the simulator's not the end-all, be-all, but when you see a trade that far apart, you got to look at it a little bit, right? You got to question it a little bit. Soto, yeah, that was not approved either, but that's different because it's Juan Soto, right? One piece could have changed that whole trade as a major overpay instead of being rejected. This one, on the other hand, sorry, Glasnow is not Juan Soto. That's just my opinion. So, but I understand what you're saying, though, right? The Dodgers have depth in their minor league system. You got Frasso. Sheehan's already up there. Miller, of course. And then you're saying River, Ryan, and Nax. So, yeah, they are definitely fine when it comes to the young arms. So, I get that. I think with the Dodgers, obviously it's a win-now move. I feel like when you're adding Glasnow to this rotation, it gives them a bit more of a secure feeling, right? And because they want to get out there and win a championship. And after signing Ohtani, listen, you pretty much have to go make a move like this. You're telling Ohtani, we want to win. We want to win a championship. He was actually introduced, and I have all of the questions asked. I might have missed one at some point, but I did my best to write down all the questions during that press conference, and I have all the answers. So, but yeah, Nick, you definitely make a good point. Doug Kahn, $2 super chat. Do you think this puts New York or the Yankees in front for Yamamoto? That's another really good question. What does this mean for Yamamoto? What does this mean? Listen, go, back to the timeline. They just met with Yamamoto a couple of days ago. I don't think it takes the Dodgers out for Yamamoto. I think this possibly even strengthens their case. I mean, you just got another guy like this, one of the top guys, when healthy, in the major leagues. So does this help you land Yamamoto? At this point, because again, go back to the timeline. This was kind of swirling a couple of nights ago, which was also the same day that they met Yamamoto. So I wonder with the Dodgers, does this mean they're going to push even harder for him? Or do they see a limit with how far they're willing to go? Or are they just out of it? I'd probably say in the middle. I usually like to go to the middle answer. I would say the Dodgers right now probably would still love Yamamoto, but there's probably a certain point they're not willing to go past. And we're actually going to get to a bit of a rumor out there on what the Yankees might have offered. Maybe not the best source out there. He's been a bit up and down when it comes to calling stuff in the past. But he did say the Yankees made a substantial offer for Yamamoto. I really don't know what to think of the Dodgers right now. It kind of feels like they're collecting Infinity Stones. I sort of get that vibe right now. So I wonder if there is a limit or if they're just going, like the Red Sox said they were going to, full throttle. Oh, my goodness. Kill me. Let's do one more super chat before I move on to another story. Jacob Toon, $4.99. I knew Glasnow was gone, but it still really hurts. This is why I don't like buying my Rays jerseys. Listen, I'll be honest with you. When it comes to buying jerseys or jerseys with names on the back, my Red Sox jerseys that I have no names on the back. I'm always just about the team. And when it comes to names and on the back of jerseys and jerseys, I always go for a classic player. Right? So, like, Rays fans, I think, someone like, Longoria on the back, that's going to be a really good one for you because that's a guy who's an all-time classic Ray, right? I've seen actually a few Wade Boggs jerseys for the Rays, which I think is funny, but, like, I kind of respect it in a way because I always forget, wow, Wade Boggs is on the Rays. My goodness. So, I agree with you. That's why I usually, with my jerseys, I just get them that don't have names. So, let's move on here. I'll get back to the super chats in just a little bit. But, again, if you are just coming in, we got almost 1,000 people in here. Breaking news. I'll pull up the trade one more time. It is rejected by baseball trade values. Tyler Glasnow, Manuel Margot heading to the Dodgers. Going back to the Rays, we got Ryan Pepio as well as Johnny DeLuca. I love this for the Rays, to be completely honest with you. I do like it for the Dodgers. Yes, it gives them a bona fide stud in that rotation. Let's see if – I always like to see how it looks on paper. I know Fangraphs, they've been a little slow when it comes to updating stuff lately. They have still not updated this. I don't know why Fangraphs is slow when it comes to updating this lately. But you're going to see a rotation now. Walker Buehler. Glasnow, as of right now, is your number 2. And then behind him, at this point, listen, I'm looking at this rotation right now, and this is why I still think the Dodgers are a threat for Yamamoto, because I'm looking at this, and I know Kershaw could come back at some point. Yeah, you got Buehler, you got Glasnow, you got Bobby Miller. It feels like it could use a little bit more. Just, again, I'm not trying to bring up Glasnow's health so much, but it is something, man. It is something you got to look out for with him. He's someone that just tends to get some random thing pop up. He's not the most durable. I feel like they still have to go get someone else, whether that's someone for the top or it's like a more of a depth guy, someone that will give you innings. Lucas Giolito, I wonder if would be a good candidate for them. Remember earlier I mentioned how the Dodgers, they tend to have success more often than not when it comes to getting guys on track in the pitching department, right? I mean, my goodness, with there's been so many examples over the years. I mean, look at just Ryan Brazier last year. My goodness, the guy turned into like freaking Mariano Rivera last year with the Dodgers. So could they get Lucas Giolito and really help him? And he is a California guy. So I wonder. Right? And don't forget also, and keep this in mind too. We're thinking of the Dodgers in 2023, but remember, Ohtani is eventually going to pitch. So that's where another thing comes into play. Does that possibly also hold them back for Yamamoto? Because Ohtani will pitch eventually. Ohtani is going to be your number 1 guy. 2025, Ohtani's going to be your opening day guy. Sorry, Walker Buehler. And you don't even know what's even happening with Walker Buehler, but then that could also tie into could that be a reason to go after Yamamoto too? Because Walker Buehler is going to be a free agent. So I don't know, man. Again, I'm going to stick in the middle with the Dodgers right now. Yes, I'm definitely giving them a chance for Yami, but at this point, I don't know which way to go. If I'm saying they're out of it or if they're going to just go gung-ho. So I think it could go either way. So we will see how this all turns out. But overall, yes, I love this for the Dodgers rotation right now. But I love it for the future of the Rays. I really do. That rotation, if you got Pepio and Boz, and don't forget, you still got someone like Shane McClanahan who will be back. He's going to miss next year. But still, McClanahan, when he comes back, and then you got a couple other guys down here. Don't forget about these couple of hitters they got coming up here. And so Oh, man. And then Taj Bradley, don't forget about him. I mean, you could literally have a rotation in a couple of years of McClanahan, Bradley, Boz, Pepio. I mean, what a freaking rotation. Like, look at these young guys. And who knows, Eflin, who knows if he ends up staying for the long haul or whatever. Man, that's 4 guys right there. That's 4 guys. 2025, McClanahan, Boz, Pepio, Bradley. I'm just saying. That's pretty nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. So, let's move on here. Let's move on. We do have a little something else that just happened. It's not to this level, but we had a little something for Mr. Trevor Plouffe of John Boy Media. Why isn't his profile popping up? Here we go. Let's see here. I actually like this. I really want more announcements happening like this. I'm just saying. My good friend, Jack Flaherty, will pitch for the Detroit Tigers next year. So, hey, you know what? For the Tigers, they've added a couple of veteran guys here. You added Flaherty, you added Maeda, but then they got these young starting pitchers in this rotation too. Listen, I'm gonna say, listen, I'm gonna wave the what's the word I'm looking for? I'll wave the flag. Being the guy from a while ago, I said, look out for the Tigers next year. Or late last season, maybe even mid-season this past year, I said, look out for the Tigers in 2024. And listen, yeah, Flaherty, not the best. In my opinion, I felt like Flaherty was a bit overrated last year. Maybe that was just me. I don't know. I wasn't the biggest fan of Jack Flaherty, and he's had injury problems in the past. So, I think for the Tigers, fine. I don't think he's going to be the number 2. I don't see him being the number 2. Honestly, I'd go Maeda as the number 2, to be completely honest with you. So, but I like that they're adding some veterans. I like that they have some youth here. All right, Skubal, this is a guy healthy. He's about to go into his prime. Manning had a pretty decent year last year. It's Sawyer Long, Reese Olson. I like the direction of the Tigers right now. I think it's pretty solid for the most part. I think it's pretty solid. So I think they still need to add something for this lineup unless they can get themselves going on their own. Bullpen, I think, has some good arms there. So let's see. I really do think the Tigers are ready to make that jump, especially that they're adding some of these veteran guys. They did lose Eduardo Rodriguez, but adding Maeda, adding Flaherty, having these young guys producing a bit more for you next year, I think that's going to make up for the loss of Eduardo Rodriguez and then some. Overall, I like the move. Yeah, it's not the best move. It's, not the guy I would really look to add. But, hey, Jack Flaherty, good team guy. Can't really complain about it. Can't really complain. So, moving on here, we do have some other stories to talk about, and I will get to a couple of super chats here. We had a few more, actually. Bob Nightingale just tweeting, what a day for the Dodgers. Minutes after introducing Ohtani, they get Glasnow. It's like, I was saying the same thing. Everyone, I'm actually going to, real quick, I'm going to update the poll. Wow. Okay, so we had over 500 votes. And it was a lot closer than I thought. 58% for the Dodgers saying that they won the Glasnow trade. But still, 42%, that's a big chunk right there, saying that the Rays won the trade. So, overall, I think, I think most people, if you're thinking World Series, the Dodgers, they get that edge. But I like the future for the Rays. So, here we go. New poll, everyone. New poll. I'm going big or going home. Can we get to 500 likes? There we go. 500 likes is the goal, everyone. 500 likes. So, moving on to the next story. My goodness, we got a lot to catch up on. So, we actually had... Let's talk a little Yamamoto, right? We've been talking Yamamoto, and all of a sudden, another team has entered the fray. Everyone, another team is in contention for Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and that is the Philadelphia Phillies. I'm just going to say this right now. You all can think, just a meeting. he's just doing his due diligence. I'm telling you, don't ever sleep on Dave Dombrowski. Don't do it. The minute you do it, the minute that guy is going to do something. This is why I loved when the Red Sox got Dave Dombrowski. I'm just saying. I'm not saying the Phillies are going to land him, but you never know what Dombrowski could do. And you're saying an elephant in the room, I see you. Don't sleep on John Middleton. John Middleton wants to freaking win. I love that in an owner. I wish John Henry would, kind of pull up his pants a little bit, roll up his sleeves a little bit, show a little bit more John Middleton. I'm not saying the Phillies are going to land him, but don't sleep on them because they have a very good team. Everyone's talking how the Dodgers right now are looking great. Oh, Yamamoto, he's going to go to the Dodgers. That team is stacked. Hello? Have you seen the Phillies? The Phillies have a really good team too. They were one win away from going back to the World Series for a second straight year. The Phillies are good. You got the Bryce Harper effect. Listen, just saying. Hey, and there is also that thing out there, unless I'm forgetting someone. Am I forgetting someone? I probably am. My potato brain likes to forget. But according to my calculations, I don't think the Phillies have any Japanese players. Is there? Am I forgetting anyone? I don't think they do. So that has been something in the past. And I actually do think there is more to that than we would like to think, right? Again, there's like that respect factor. That's why I want, and sure, we've seen Japanese guys in the past play with each other, right? But I would say more of those combinations have been like those, like either a high level and like a lower level player, right? Like Daisuke and Hideki Okajima. That was like the perfect example, right? Daisuke was like legend coming out of Japan, highly touted, and Okajima was like a solid reliever, right? They weren't the same level. So that's where I could see that, right? And the other team out there are the Yankees. They don't got any Japanese players. So I'm just saying. I've been seeing a lot of speculation out there when it comes to this. Yamamoto, he would have to go into the shadow of Shohei Ohtani. He would have to accept that. And word on the street is that he does want to go to a market where he is the star. Yamamoto is going to be a star, man. If he goes to the Dodgers, he's the second guy up. It's Ohtani, right? So then I think of my Red Sox, right? You got Yoshida. Yamamoto, in my opinion, yes, he would be the bigger star. But listen, Yoshida, he is someone out there too. I know they're friends. I know. But again, it's the respect factor. Maybe I'm diving into this a little bit too much. But Yoshida, hey, this guy was just on the GQ, in the GQ magazine. Dude looked sharp, wearing some kind of a suit. My goodness, he looked amazing. Looked like $100. Looked like $1 million. Well, I say $100. $1 million. I'm just saying. Looked like $10 million. $100 million. I don't know. What would that dynamic be like? Because Yamamoto would be definitely taking over the spotlight over Yoshida, in my opinion. So, goodness. But again, what is it with these, what do these guys think, right? That is something, if he goes to the Dodgers, that people are going to have to think about. Does he want that? I don't know. With the Yankees, there's no other Japanese players there. So that's why I wonder if the Yankees could maybe land him. The only thing I wonder about with the Yankees is how far are they willing to go? Two examples. Yes. They backed up the Brinks truck for Garrett Cole. They absolutely did, right? They went out there and they got Soto. They definitely did it. I just wonder, how far are they willing to go in the bidding? That's the only thing I wonder about, right? So I don't know. The only thing that holds me back. But they definitely could use them. I don't know. The only thing I wonder about, another thing I wonder about with the Yankees is they also just spent money on Carlos Rodon last offseason. I see people out there saying, well, Rodon was terrible this year. It doesn't matter. They're still paying this guy a ton of money, right? So that's something you have to think about. I think for the Yankees, if they really want to go out there and get themselves back out onto the map as World Series contenders, yeah, go freaking do it. Go spend the money because you got it, right? I'm not saying it's, the Yankees should just not go after him because they have a lot of payroll. No, they should absolutely go spend some freaking money because it's the freaking Yankees. I'm just saying. I don't know. It's going to be interesting how this all unfolds. But the Phillies, I do think you should just don't sleep on them. Just don't. Something about Dave Dombrowski always worries me. There's always something there with Dombrowski, man. They don't call him Dealin' Dave for nothing. He's made the big splashes in free agency and the trade market. He's done it. The only thing with the Phillies, and again, I know Middleton wants to win. I get that. But I just also think about the money. That's always something I just wonder about. If they add Yamamoto, you're looking at 30, 35 per year. To be honest with you, though, the Phillies are actually, in my opinion, I think they're actually in a pretty good spot when it comes to the payroll. You're at 237 right now. I don't think there's really a whole lot to do with this team. I really do. When I'm looking here, I see 237. Let's say you sign Yamamoto somehow, like 35. Yeah, then you're looking at, you're in the 270 region. You're still going to be below that. If let's say you add Yamamoto for 35 per year, I know that's a high number. I'm going a little higher, right? But even if you added him for 35 a season, you're not above that 277 yet. You're definitely going to be pretty high, right? You're going to be above those two tiers. But at this point, your roster is pretty much set. Maybe you could add some lower tier guys. And another thing to think about is you got Zach Wheeler coming off the books. $23.5 million for next year. Strom will come off the books too. Those two guys right there, that's going to be right around Yamamoto's salary. So I'm just saying, right? And then you got Dominguez, who has the club option. You know, a smaller salary, and Hoffman will come off. Then you got a few other guys coming up in 26. You're looking at Ranger Suarez and Soto. That's over 10 million. Or is that? Yeah, it's over 10 million right there. Or right around 10 million. So, there is the talks of with Harper going a little further with his deal, like restructuring that deal, which is like crazy in itself because he's already signed up for 2031. And that there's reports that he wants to have even more of an extension. I don't know. I'm just saying, I think the Phillies are really interesting for Yamamoto. I really do. If you're really asking my personal opinion. Listen, I got first glimpse of Dave Dombrowski. Up close and personal. He made the big moves with the Red Sox. Got them that championship. Brought in David Price. Brought in JD Martinez. Made the trade for Chris Sale. Made the trade for Craig Kimbrell. He makes moves, man. Everywhere he goes, he makes the splashes. Brought Aaron Nola back. Got Bryce Harper. Was he there with Bryce Harper? Can't remember. But either way, you can't count out Dave Dombrowski when it comes to landing a guy. I'm just saying. So, we will have to wait and see what ends up happening here. But there was also a little something today on Yamamoto and the Yankees. Now, you might have to take this with a grain of salt. Oh my God, I just opened up X, and the first thing I saw, I don't know what to think. I almost don't want to show everyone. What is this? What am I looking at right now? Everyone, feast your eyes on a clean shaven Alex Verdugo, everybody. Look at that. Oh, what is happening here? I can't handle it. What is happening? I can't handle this. Here we go. So, Yamamoto, we got the Yankees, and now Carlos Baerga, right? This is a guy, he's mainly on Instagram. Or I think he seems to be with all of his news. He knows some guys. Like, I don't know who he knows. It seems like he probably has some people that he talks to. However, he put this today. The Yankees have offered Yoshinobu Yamamoto 9 years, $304 million. I had a lot of people in the comments on this one saying like, oh, Baerga, he's got a lot of things wrong. Go back a couple off seasons ago, he got some stuff right too. I'm just saying. But with this, I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, you can't trust him. You can't trust him." Yeah, but it's a report on an offer, right? Yes, I understand what people are saying. Yes, he's been inaccurate about things, but it's not like he's saying Yamamoto is going to the Yankees. He's not like he's saying, a player is going to get traded. He's just reporting a contract offer. And when you think about it, I actually think this is a pretty reasonable one to believe, because it is expected that he's going to get that $300 million range and probably beat that, honestly. It's crazy to think. We came in to this offseason thinking, okay, maybe like 200, 250 max for Yamamoto. And all of a sudden, now we're talking $300 million. That's how good this guy could be. This is how organizations look at Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Dude's going to be good, man. I saw a comparison earlier saying has a better splitter than Kevin Gausman. That's how scouts and organizations are looking at him. And I'm trying to think, there was they compared his fastball to another pitcher. I can't fully remember it, but they said might not have as much velocity as one of the better pitchers in the game, but has better shape to his fastball, has better life to the fastball. I can't fully remember who that pitcher was that he was being compared to, but if I'm seeing a guy is saying that people are saying that he has a better splitter than Kevin Gausman has a freaking nasty splitter, man. So, sorry. And actually, go to King of JUCO, Eric Sim. He actually, because he sets up his pitching machine to where it gives the pitching machine like the stats, basically, not the stats, but the velocity of pitchers, the movement of the pitchers, and he went up against Yamamoto, and he took a swing at his splitter, and he just had nothing against it. And he even said, he's like, no one is hitting the splitter. No one is hitting Yamamoto's splitter in the major leagues. Or the forkball, or forkball splitter, whatever. So go look at that video from King of JUCO, Eric Sim. It's actually pretty funny. The dude was just outmatched, and he can hit some bombs. I'm just saying. So it was a pretty funny video overall. But the fact that Eric Sim right there, just looking ridiculous against Yoshinobu Yamamoto, just saying no one is hitting this guy, I think that should say something. So now I know it's a machine. I know it's not Yamamoto. I get that. So I do think there is possibly some accuracy to this, because it's kind of a weird one. Like, why are you just going to throw out that the Yankees offered 9 years and $304? The numbers seem reasonable to me. The length of the contract, I think, is pretty reasonable. I do wonder if they're going to really demand that 10th, maybe even that 11th year. You got to remember, he's 25 years old. So he definitely has that room to really try. His agent, at least, has room there to really try and get some more years. Now, the longest deal for a pitcher was Garrett Cole, 9 years. So, listen, I think if there's any guy that, that could beat that, the total, I don't think he's going to, he could beat that total salary of Garrett Cole. I really wonder, just because, now I'm not even talking about the posting fee. I wonder if there's a chance, just because you got to remember, starting pitching, 25-year-old starting pitching that is projected to do really well in the major leagues, that is extremely rare. Garrett Cole, yeah, that guy earned that contract. But remember, he was 29 years old when he signed that contract. 9 years, what was it, 324? I think there's a chance Yamamoto could beat that. I really do, even though he has not thrown one pitch. Listen, organizations have done their homework on this guy. They have really done their research on this guy. Everyone across the board is saying he is going to be a very good pitcher in the major leagues, like top 5 even from what I've read. So, yeah, I do think there is something to this. I think it's a weird number to just spit out like randomly. Who knows? Maybe he's being used as that, that media leverage a little bit. I put here also, sorry, I'm going to show my draft deck Robbie here. You all know me. I'm pretty down the middle for the most part. But if I'm the freaking Red Sox right now, I am going up 5% from that offer. I'm going 9-3-20, and I'm going to keep going. Please keep going. God, they need Yamamoto so bad. I don't know what to think. I don't even know. It's stressing me out, everyone. Stressing me out. But we'll keep an eye on this. Who knows when we could hear something. He does want to sign before Christmas, reportedly. We are about 10 days away, roughly. Who knows? Maybe we could even see something by the end of this week. It feels like momentum is building, and the fact that it seems like he's coming to an end with his meetings, and we're already starting to... Who knows if this is fully true? I think it's a weird number to just throw out randomly. I think there is something to it. But the fact that even some offers are already starting to be put down... I know it's Thursday. I know we got a lot of time left. I do wonder if maybe it's at some point during the week, next week. We'll have to see. But buckle your seatbelts, everyone. Buckle your seatbelts. So let's see what we got. What do we got here? Next story. Alrighty. Again, I'm playing catch up here. I wasn't really able to get everything fully ready. Let's talk a little Bryce Miller. And it looks like the Mariners are listening to offers on Bryce Miller. And we've been seeing some reports that teams are really looking at the Mariners' young starting pitching, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert. I don't think there's an absolute shot George Kirby is going anywhere. I think Gilbert is also very unlikely, but I think it's going to be very hard to get him. Very hard. Bryce Miller, on the other hand, I have predicted that Bryce Miller could be a guy. Because he's younger. Don't forget, they already have Luis Castillo. They already have a big three, right? You do have Brian Wu. So Bryce Miller... he showed what he could do last year. Bryce Miller had some great stuff last year. Very good stuff. So as soon as I saw this today at around 3 o'clock, I was not really surprised, to be honest with you. Bryce Miller, let's go pull him up, actually. Pull up the numbers with him. Not amazing numbers in his rookie year, but very good numbers for a rookie season. So let's go take a look here. So you're looking at the ERA right now, or this past season, in the low 4s. And the FIP, we saw it right under a 4 at 3.98. Listen, these are really good numbers for a rookie season. This guy didn't even pitch in AAA. So I think that should tell you something as well. Bryce Miller is really good. 8 strikeouts per 9 last year, under 2 walks per 9 last year. Very good stuff. The big one is the fastball with him. All right, you're going to see the slider as well, but he has really good command, right? As you can see here, a future of 55, and he showed it last year, this past season, with the walks. Under 2 walks per 9. Good grief. Listen, I keep talking my Red Sox here, but I did predict that the Red Sox would pull off a trade for Bryce Miller. However, I was kind of looking at it, and I looked at what John Morosi said. And he was speculating, and I know everyone's going to jump all over John Morosi because the flight thing. I know, whatever. But he says here, it's difficult to envision Miller being dealt unless the Mariners acquire an impact bat as well as a starter. So I'm thinking of the Red Sox. I'm like, well, the only impact bat they really have that I think honestly should be dangled out there for trades for starting pitching is Jarren Duran. Right? Jarren Duran, you got to remember with Jarren Duran, he really showed his potential this past year. His season ended a little early. He got hurt. But Jarren Duran really showed a lot of promise. Finally got it into gear this past year. And with the Red Sox, or at least for the Mariners, is that going to be enough of an impact bat? I don't know. When I think impact bat, I think of a guy that's going to be like a middle of the order kind of a guy. But for someone like Bryce Miller, yeah, very good. Very good. But Bryce Miller hasn't really shown enough yet, in my opinion, to be like someone like a Logan Gilbert or a George Kirby, where it's going to be a ton to get one of those guys. Where Bryce Miller, yeah, it's going to take a bit to get him, but it's not going to be as much as you would think. But I will also add to that starting pitching, cost controlled, that's going to be hard to come by. So let's take a look. What would it cost to get Bryce Miller? So with the Mariners, taking a look here, not Manuel Margot, Bryce Miller. You're looking at around 25 for the median and getting up into the 30s. So, but again, young starting pitcher with control, good stuff. I could even see it getting higher than that, maybe like 35, 40. I think if there is a bidding war for Bryce Miller, I definitely think a team could overpay for him. That's just the nature of the market. That's just how it is. So he's gonna cost you quite a bit. Yeah, I would love for the Red Sox to get him, but yeah, there are definitely some other teams out there that could also use some starting pitching, right? I wonder if that could be a really good fit for a team like the Cardinals. I've talked about the Cardinals and the Mariners before being trade partners. Wonder if maybe you could put something together, something, that could include maybe like a Brendan Donovan, maybe like a Nolan Gorman. That might be too much for Cardinals fans. Like, I can understand that. But again, if you're looking for good bats, I'm looking at teams like that. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But Bryce Miller, keep an eye out for him. Maybe Brian Wu also. Could this maybe at some point, somehow, some way, phone calls are made, players are, exchanged back and forth, somehow maybe it turns into Logan Gilbert. I don't think Kirby goes anywhere. I really don't. I think Kirby's staying. Could it turn into Logan Gilbert? My guess, probably not. Probably ends up being Bryce Miller or Brian Wu. Maybe both of those guys. That could definitely land them some bats. And the Mariners definitely need a bat. So I'd fully agree with Morosi here that you're not going to deal Miller unless you get yourself a good bat, as well as a starting pitcher. So if I'm thinking of from the Red Sox point of view, I'm thinking, like, if you're offering Jarren Duran and someone like Tanner Houck, could that maybe get it done? That'd definitely be a hefty price. So we'll see. Don't forget about other guys still out there. Corbin Burns, Dylan Cease. Let's see what ends up happening. Moving on here, we actually saw some interesting rumors out there when it came to Christian Yelich. And listen, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I'm just not. Because it's hard to envision Christian Yelich being traded. However, his name is starting to come up there a little bit. John Heyman talked about this, and I'm trying to find... I think he was on his Bleacher Report stream. Let's take a look. Where was this? I think it was on this. So he was talking about the Cody Bellinger market, talking about how it's down to 2 teams, and he was mentioning you're probably looking at the Blue Jays and the Cubs. Who knows? Maybe the Giants can get in here somehow, some way. I know they just added Lee, but who knows? Maybe they could still think, all right, we still need to go get some bats, right? Who knows? A lot of stuff on the Giants the last couple of days, right? Ken Rosenthal throwing out there, city of San Francisco is holding back the San Francisco Giants. I've talked about that before. People thinking, oh, Ken Rosenthal, he has said, oh, like, wow, this is, he's saying that the Giants, they can't get players because of the city. I feel like I've been saying that for the last couple of years, and I've been seeing people in the chat say that about San Francisco in the last couple of years. Anyway, I digress. I'm getting off topic. So he also mentions here that if the Blue Jays don't land Cody Bellinger, he also mentions that the Blue Jays have kicked the tires on Christian Yelich. Now, the one problem with Christian Yelich, he's a major underwater contract. That's a lot of money that you're going to have to take on. So, real quick, let's go to the Brewers payroll. Yelich is making himself a pretty good amount of money. So looking at the payroll for the Brewers, you're looking at right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more years of Yelich. There is the mutual option. So something to keep in mind. But the salary is holding back his value because Yelich has not been... He was better this past season, but not amazing. Not amazing this past season. So either way, though, he did have a good year, but it's not that MVP year that we saw back in 2019. I mean, my goodness, that year that he had was unbelievable, hitting 329, the 671 slugging, the 429 on base, 44 homers, 30 stolen bases. That was before the rule change. And this year, yeah, he was definitely better. 19 homers, that's definitely his best season since then. The 19 homers, 28 stolen bases, pretty decent slash line, hitting 278, 370 on base is really good. And the 447 slugging, that's the highest that it's been, but you would like more. So with Yelich, because of the last few years, that is holding back his value. So if we go look at what it would cost to get Christian Yelich. So let's put Yelich on the Blue Jays. And you're going to look at the value and you're going to be like, wow, that's actually really low. He's at negative 40 right now. So if the Brewers were going to trade Yelich, they're going to have to pay some of that salary, in my opinion. Yes, he had a pretty decent year this past year. But again, you're looking at track record. And that is still holding back that contract. It's still underwater. I think if he has another good year this year, you're going to see that negative value come up. But for the Brewers to get rid of him right now, you're going to have to attach quite a bit of money to that, in my opinion. So I don't see him going anywhere because of that reason. This would be a similar move to Arenado. Right? Everyone talks about, Arenado, they had to pay, the Cardinals $50 million to trade, right? But again, there's the economical point of view that came into it where Arenado at the time had a major negative value because he was coming off a down year, he had injuries, and he was making a ton of money, right? So people weren't really looking at it from that point of view. It's like where you have a car loan and it's a damaged car, right? So that car, you're already underwater with the contract itself. Every time you leave the lot, the car is worth less than when you still had it on the lot, right? But then it gets dinged up more, doors get dented in, paint gets scraped off. Who knows? Maybe something happens inside the engine. I don't know. But that's basically what was happening with Arenado, and they owed him a lot of money. So that's why the whole $50 million thing came into play, because you were underwater at the time. The problem I felt with that whole thing was simply signing him to the extension in the first place. That to me was just ridiculous that you signed him to that extension when you didn't even know what you were even doing as a franchise, and then you traded him, and then you ended up signing Chris Bryant. Like, that was just like, I did not understand anything that was going on with the Rockies at that point. So again, it's not Arenado, but it's a little similar, not the same circumstances. I just don't think the Brewers end up trading him because the Brewers want to be competitive, and the fact that you're going to be losing a player that was coming off a decent season and you're having to attach money to him, I don't see the Brewers doing that. I really don't. So moving on from that story. What else do we got here? Not too much more. I do want to talk about Josh Hader a little bit because I was going to talk about him the other night, and then all of a sudden we started getting all that news about Glasnow a couple of nights ago. And then we also started having some news about Josh Hader. Could this be the next piece for the Dodgers? I actually wonder if maybe it could be. And you're probably going to think my reasoning for it is ridiculous. So where is Hader here? One second, everyone. Goodness. This is why I can't have breaking news while I'm getting ready. Here we go. Josh Hader. Could he be the next target for the Dodgers? Right? So Tom Verducci, he had an article the other day on Sports Illustrated saying they have had recently grown interest and former Padres closer Josh Hader. They are expected to spend that money immediately and possibly more as they target free agent pitchers Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Josh Hader. So Tom Verducci hearing they're also looking at the relief pitching market. At this point, I don't know what to think. I don't know what direction the Dodgers are going in. I don't know, man. I don't know. Are they gonna land both these guys? I don't know what's going on. So Josh Hader, though, I could see this, and you're gonna think my reasoning is ridiculous. I can already see it. I'm not saying this is why they could land Josh Hader, but they did recently just trade Victor Gonzalez. That is a lefty. I'm not saying Victor Gonzalez is Josh Hader. Don't come after me. But I'm wondering if maybe they're looking at, like, okay, you know what? We just had another lefty in this bullpen. Let's go add the best lefty on the market, right? Let's upgrade that lefty, right? Let's make this guy our closer. Evan Phillips, this can be our setup guy. Evan Phillips had a really good year last year. Gratterall had a really good year last year. So, that's kind of, again, I'm not saying, Victor Gonzalez is any sort of level of Josh Hader, but they did just trade a lefty. Doesn't really matter all that much, but your lefties right now, you're looking at Alex Vesia and you're looking at Caleb Ferguson. So, if you really want to get a lefty, go get Hader, man. SP4449 fan. Dodgers don't need Hader. Yeah. I guess when you're looking at the bullpen was really good. Also, what's going to happen with Brazier? Are they going to bring Brazier back? I'm just saying. He was really good for them. But their bullpen was really good in the second half last year. To me, I don't know, man. I don't think you could ever have enough bullpen guys. Good bullpen guys. It's going to cost a lot for Hader, though. Let's actually see what Baseball Trade Values is projecting for a contract for him. So you're looking at, I think the last time I looked at this, you were looking at around over a 5-year deal. I think you were close to $90 million. So 5 years, 89.5. He really wants to beat the Edwin Diaz contract. I don't think he's going to be able to do that, though. So I could see this, though. 5 years, right around 90. I definitely could see something like that. Maybe you could push 95, depending on the market. But listen, man, with the Dodgers, with Ohtani and, the way he's been, or the way he set up this contract to have the deferrals, I mean, this payroll right now, it's, even with Ohtani here, it's in really good shape. So if you add Hader for around $18 million per year, I mean, you're still, you're going to be over that first luxury tax, but you're still going to be under the 257. And if you add Yamamoto, so let's see here. Let me do some math. I can't quite do math. 227, let's say for 18 on the CBT, that brings it up to 245. And then let's say you add Yamamoto. Let's say you're able to land him, 32.5. You're looking at 277.5 if you brought in Hader for $18 million a year and Yamamoto for 32.5. So $277.5 million on the CBT, and that would be right near that level. So I wonder if maybe they do. But no, hold on a second. I take that back, because then you got Glasnow too. Glasnow's not here. So you're looking at, let me crunch the numbers again. So let's say you add Glasnow. So 227. Glasnow's going to be making 25 for next year. That brings it up to 252. Let's say you add Hader. That brings it up to 270. And if you add Yamamoto, let's just say 32.5, you're looking at a payroll over $300 million. And that would be in Steve Cohen territory. They made that level for Steve Cohen. So, will the Dodgers do that? I don't know, man. I have this hard time imagining that the Dodgers are going to go that crazy. Am I the only one that thinks that? I feel like, yes, they just went out here and they landed, obviously, the best player in the universe. But when you look at the history of the Dodgers with the free agents, right? Remember, Mookie Betts was a trade, and then that was the extension. You did land Freeman, Ohtani, obviously. You did land Trevor Bauer. That was a big signing. So they have made their mark when it comes to the free agent market. But I feel like with the Dodgers, they're not usually going crazy like how the Mets have done in the last couple of years. So I just wonder if they're going to go absolutely nuts. I think Glasnow, you add him. So now you're looking at 227 plus the 25. I mean, you're in 252, the 250 territory. But then you also have to think here, what do you got coming off the books? You don't have a lot coming off the books. You got Hayward, Kelly next year. You know, you got a couple of club options. You got Trinan. So you're looking at 9. That's $17 million right there. Then you're looking at $8 million, so that's 25. Another $1 million, that's 26. Walker Buehler, you're looking at $34 million there. So you got a lot of players coming off. I don't know, man. Because if you bring in Yamamoto, Hader, and now you're signing Glasnow to an extension, I don't know because they don't have a ton of money coming off the books in the future. I could maybe see it if like Betts or Freeman were coming up soon. Unless they are absolutely willing, because it's not just they're going to have a high payroll for next year. They're going to have a high payroll for a while. And if they're willing to do that, then yeah, I could see it. But I'm leaning more towards no. Maybe that's me. Maybe I'm going to eat my words right there. I could definitely see it, right? Yamamoto next week signs with the Dodgers. And then I'm eating my words. I'm not counting it out. I just don't know what the Dodgers are planning, right? It's going to be really interesting. I don't know. If I'm giving you a feel of how I feel about the Yamamoto market, I don't know. This morning when I woke up, I started feeling like pretty good about the Dodgers getting him. But now that they've landed Glasnow, now that that's official, and then they're going to have the extension, I don't know. I don't know if my confidence in them getting Yamamoto is better or worse. That's just me. What do I know? I don't know anything. You got Chris Taylor coming up in a couple of years. Max Muncy, for the club options. I don't know, man. That's a lot of money they would have to add. That's a lot. So, we'll see. We'll see. But, let's see. I think we had one more thing to talk about. We did have one more thing to talk about. Little something here. Let's end the stream here with this last story. And we had a little more Shohei Ohtani today. I can't believe it. We had the Ohtani press conference and then the Glasnow trade. So I actually did write down as many of the questions as I could. And so taking a look here. So, my goodness, Ohtani in the Dodgers hat, unbelievable. But here were a lot of the questions. There were a lot of softball kind of questions. I thought we were going to get some tougher questions here, but I'll kind of go through them here. He was asked, when did you decide? What were the biggest factors? He did say he decided the night before the announcement. Interesting. That was the night where you had the whole flight to Toronto thing. Did he decide by when the flight was over, or during the flight, or before the flight? Who knows? He said he chose the Dodgers for numerous reasons. Every team was great during the process, but in the end, he liked the Dodgers. We had another question. Again, a lot of softball kind of questions, like what were your thoughts on how crazy everything got? Do you realize the expectations? He said he's humbled. He's happy to see everyone there, all the media, but he wasn't expecting that many people. One hard question he did get, it came from Beth Harris of the AP. It said here, why haven't, when he got the elbow surgery, she asked him, why didn't he call it Tommy John, and was it used as leverage in the process? That's a tough that's a hardball question right there. So he said at the time he didn't announce what it was because they didn't know if he needed Tommy John or not, but he said it was a different type of procedure and he didn't know what to call it really, and he said to go ask all the doctors, so that got a chuckle. About the contract structure, he said he was aware of the deferrals and that you were allowed to use them, and he said he wanted to help the Dodgers build a better team. Listen, I talked with a couple of finance people over the last couple of days, and they speculated, right, that there's something probably a little bit more to it, financially at least. I just wonder, man, you got the taxes out in California. This is my own speculation. I could be wrong. I could imagine, man, you got the high taxes 10 years from now. Dude just bolts for Texas, bolts for Florida where you don't got to pay taxes. I'm just saying. I'm just speculating. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I had a couple of finance friends saying, like, that's odd, right? Yes, he's going to be making a ton of money when it comes to the endorsements and whatnot. So, but again, I don't know. They were just kind of wondering why, like just why. So I don't know. Interesting. I wonder if there is more to it. I don't know. It could be really he just wants to, part of it definitely he wants to just have a better team. So, or at least give them a little bit more wiggle room. But it is interesting. Remember, money is king at the end of the day. I don't care what anyone says. So he said in the process, during the press conference, he didn't want to talk about other organizations. I was hoping to hear something. They usually don't. They don't usually talk about other teams. I was hoping to hear something about the Blue Jays. Goodness gracious. He prioritized winning during this press conference. He was asked how many teams were in it on the final day. He said he didn't want to comment on that. And he said with the Dodgers, he said the one thing that the Dodgers presented him that stood out was the fact that they've made the playoffs so many times and they just haven't won a World Series. So, and they told him that they considered it a failure. So, I just feel like every team is going to say that. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that as crazy. We got the name of the dog. Everyone. I think in Japanese, he said it was Dekobe. I think that's how it was pronounced, but it's in the American name, it's Decoy. So, just saying. He said about leaving the Angels. He was sad leaving the Angels, but he was ready for the Dodgers. And then Bob Nightingale. Bob Nightingale made the appearance. He asked, why did he put the opt-out clause? So that was also a little something that came out in the last couple of days. There is now a clause if Mark Walter, one of the owners, or Andrew Friedman leaves their job or gets fired, then he can opt out of his deal at the end of the year. That's interesting. I put out a tweet the other day. The SpongeBob episode, or the part from one of the episodes where I think it's in SpongeBob's head, and like all the filing department is on fire, and all of the little SpongeBobs are like running around going crazy. I was thinking, man, all these teams are trying to find some dirt on Andrew Friedman right now, try to get that guy out of there, so maybe he would opt out and maybe go get back out into the market. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just kidding. So, it was a pretty normal press conference overall. I was hoping for some juicier questions, because to me, it's like, it's freaking Shohei Ohtani, man. If I was there, I would have been like, dude, what the heck were you doing during that flight? What was happening? I guess there was something. He's already talked about it, I guess, saying he was hanging out with his dog or whatever. But I don't know, man. I needed some more details. I needed something here. Man. I don't know. Anyway, everyone, that's it for my stories for tonight. But I am going to get to these last few super chats that we got. Thank you again for all the super chats. We're at 400 likes, everyone. The goal was 500. We are less than 100 away. If you can help us get there by the time I get these super chats done, you are amazing to me. Jared Cole, $10 super chat. Thank you, Jared. As a Dodgers fan, hate this trade. Didn't want to lose Pepio, but if I had to, I'd rather lose him for Burns or Cease. Tyler Glass Arm has pitched over 100 innings once, and Margot sucks. Bad trade for LA. Listen, I don't hate it, but I like it more for the Rays. To be completely honest, I do like it more for the Rays. I think you make a really good point there. man, like, really the one guy that, but again, maybe with Burns, maybe they tried, but maybe he just wants to get to the market. Glasnow was more willing to sign the extension. But I agree with you from the health point of view, man. You definitely are not wrong there. That's a big young arm to lose. So, blockbuster deal, everyone. The Yankees have traded Billy McKinney to the Pirates. Splash. Jimmy Productions, $1.99. The Tigers will win the AL Central. What just happened? Oh, here we go. The Tigers will win the AL Central, then the Royals second. Could you imagine the madness if that happens? Jimmy, my goodness. Dark Jaws, $1.99. Waiting for my Cardinals to trade for an ace. Could this be Dylan Cease? Glasnow's off the board now. Could this maybe open up the trade market a little bit more? Especially with Yamamoto coming off the board eventually. Let's see. Siege Roots, $5 super chat. Glasnow with Pryor for anything more than I cannot talk right now. Glasnow with Pryor for anything more than 3 years is going to shove if he can stay off the IL. Man, anytime I think of IL, I think of Mark Pryor, man. I mean, am I the only one that's noticed that the last couple of years? Look at all the injuries the Dodgers have been having. Buehler, Dustin May. I mean, goodness. Are we confident here with Glasnow going to the Dodgers? They just had all these injuries. I don't know. But if he's healthy, I agree with you. Tom Amiyato, $9.99. Thank you, Tom. If the Sox don't get Yamamoto, can you see them pushing hard for Montgomery or Snell and try to work out a trade with the Marlins or the Tigers for a young pitcher? Mize, Rogers, Skubal, or Luzardo. Yeah, I definitely think that's the route they go. I think they're really going after Yamamoto here. I personally think they're not putting a lot out there, and teams are not really giving them a chance because of that. That's my own personal feeling. Don't be shocked if the Red Sox end up winning these sweepstakes. I know that might sound biased. I know that's Mike Giraffe Neck Robbie probably talking right there. But I think they're keeping things really close to the vest, and they're just not putting anything out there. I don't know. I'm going to wait until the signing actually happens. We'll see. But if they don't get Yamamoto, I think there's definitely a chance, they don't get him, right? So maybe they're not keeping everything close to the vest. Maybe they really are just not really in it. So I think Montgomery is very realistic, definitely realistic. I don't think Snell, because Montgomery he doesn't have the qualifying offer attached to him, where with Snell you have to give up a draft pick. So that's something there. So I think Montgomery, he's already in Boston right now for the offseason. I think that's going to happen, personally. And then, I could see, like, Bryce Miller, who we talked about, maybe a guy on the Marlins like Rogers, maybe Cabrera, something like that. I don't think the Tigers are going to trade anyone. I think the Tigers, they're going to be trying to compete. But, I could maybe see the Marlins, maybe. Lamont Wade, $31.99. Who will the Giants sign to compete with our rival? With the Giants, man, I think they need to go after a bat. I think they're really going to have to go after a bat. Now, the Giants, we just talked a little earlier, they have a hard time getting these guys. I think they're going to have to go. I think Rhys Hoskins could be a guy who, he has to really prove himself for this next year, coming off the ACL. But that would be a good power bat, I think, for them to add. Dark Jaws, $1.99. Cardinals need to trade for both Bieber and Clase. Clase is another one. Look out for him. I wonder. But, I think that would be a pretty nice duo to put together, honestly. James Alba, $4.99. Thank you, James. And thank you, Dark Jaws. Appreciate that. And Lamont Wade, 31. James, Mets remain at the top of the Vegas odds for Yamamoto. Have to believe they won't be the top bid, regardless of if they land him or not. So we can actually, I'm going to go check here. We are sponsored here by BetUS. That is our new sponsor. We recently just signed up with them. We got some new friends. And we actually have here the Yamamoto odds as of right now. So it's showing us a money line, and this is what BetUS is telling us as of right now. So if you head on over to BetUS, and there's actually a link in the description down below. If you click that link, it's going to give you a 125% bonus. So go check it out. But BetUS right now, they have the Yankees as the leading candidates for Yamamoto with the money line. Then you got the Dodgers up next. Then they actually have the Giants. I personally don't agree with that. But then again, that is an option where if he wants to be the lone guy, he wants to be the star of the team. Yeah, the city, it's not really looked at in the same light. They don't have these guys like Buster Posey anymore and Madison Bumgarner that can really help attract some guys. But they did just add someone like Jung-Hoo Lee, so I think that says something. I don't think the Giants are as attractive as they used to be back in the early 2010s when they were winning those championships. So I personally right now don't put them higher than the Mets. I think the Mets, they're up there. And I honestly would put the Red Sox ahead of the Giants too. Not the Phillies, though. Phillies are questionable, man. I'm worried about the Phillies. Dave Dombrowski freaks me out, man. Freaks me out. So, but these are the current money line odds on BetUS. There's a whole bunch of different ways to play here, everyone. We got football. That's coming up. Actually, we have a game tonight. It's Thursday, so you got some football, but you got the weekend slate coming up. Basketball every single night. We got hockey going on as well. There's a whole bunch of different ways to play on BetUS. Please make sure you play responsibly. And everyone, I actually do want to make one quick announcement. Tomorrow, I want to point this out. I'm actually going to be on a new show with BetUS. So, my goodness, what is happening here? So, if you go to the channel BetUS TV, they have a new show that they're starting off, or they're just starting off this past week. It's called Gen Z Sports. Basically, a podcast format. So, go check it out, everyone. I'm actually going to be on the show tomorrow. It's going to be a bit of a round table. We're talking pretty much all the sports going on, right? Baseball, basketball, football as well. And we're all going to be kind of like a round table just talking sports, nothing crazy. So come hang out, everyone. It's going to be at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Again, it's on the BetUS TV channel. So again, 3 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. Go check it out, and go check out the other shows that they've been doing this past week. So, should be a good old time, everyone, a good old time. But everyone, one more announcement. My goodness, we got announcements all over the place, and I actually do have to start getting out of here because it is just about time to head on over to Ballcap Sports because I am also the host of the Barreled Up podcast now with Jim over on Ballcap Sports. So myself and Jim, we're going to be talking with Wardy. So any Mets fans in the chat, come on over. We're talking probably the Glasnow trade. As you can see, Glasnow is now in the thumbnail. But we're going to react to this. We're going to be together hanging out. But again, I have mentioned it a couple times, but I am now the new co-host of the Barreled Up podcast presented by Odyssey with Jim. So come check that out. We're hanging out, everyone. We're just going to be talking. So I'm going to head over there right now, everyone. And so go check that out. And I will see you in a little bit. But I want to thank you all for coming out to tonight. Started a little earlier than I thought, but we got it done. But in the end, I got to get out of here, everyone. I'm already late. I'm a couple of minutes late. So everyone, thank you again for stopping by. Tomorrow's Friday. Not quite sure if I'll go live. Usually I like to have the Fridays and the Saturdays off, but make sure the bell notification is turned on just in case anything happens. You never know. Anything could drop at any point. So make sure the bell is on. If you can on the way out, everyone, hit that like button. The goal was 500. Share the show. Share the channel. Subscribe if you are new. Everyone, I'm out of here. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll talk to you next time.